I was never anyone special, just another forgettable name, another unremarkable face among millions. My life followed a quiet rhythm, filled with just enough work to get by and a modest apartment where I could retreat from the world. It wasn't exciting, but it felt safe. And most of all, it was mine. Then the pain started. It began as a vague stiffness in my fingers, the kind that follows a poor night's sleep. But it didn't go away. I woke up one morning to find my wrists bent backward in unnatural angles, my hands trembling as if someone else had twisted them while I slept. The veins beneath my skin swelled in strange spirals, crawling like vines beneath the surface. My skin began to peel, not from dryness, but from something deeper, as though something inside me wanted to shed the shell it no longer recognized. I went from one clinic to another, clinging to the fragile hope that someone, anyone, might recognize what was happening to me. The doctors ran every test they could think of, but all I ever got in return were puzzled looks and gentle shakes of the head. And while everything remained uncertain, the pain inside me only grew worse, turning sharper, deeper, as if it were slowly eating away at my very bones from the inside out. Then I was referred to Dr. Louis, a renowned geneticist known for tackling rare and difficult conditions. The institute where he worked felt different, silent, sterile, and watchful. When we met, he didn't look confused or concerned. He looked intrigued.
Your case is unique,
he said after examining my scans.
I believe your body isn't failing. It's adapting. With a full genetic workup, I may be able to stabilize the changes.
His confidence made me feel for the first time that maybe there was hope. So I said yes. Every time my condition worsened, I returned. My joints stiffened, my skin cracked open, and sometimes I bled without any visible wound. Louis was always ready, always calm, sometimes even eager. He asked to monitor me overnight, citing unusual biological responses and a need for close observation. One night, as I waited in the hallway, I saw a man escorted into a restricted zone marked sperm donation facility. He was entirely covered, hood pulled low, and though he only glanced at me for a second, something about him disturbed me in a way I couldn't explain, like he wasn't truly there. Soon the symptoms escalated. My sight blurred. My ears rang. I couldn't sit for long without sharp pain in my back. I touched my spine one morning and felt ridges rising beneath the skin, new bones reshaping me. When I told Louis, he responded not with concern but with quiet excitement.
You're progressing faster than I anticipated,
he said, almost in awe. I wanted to walk away, but fear held me in place. I was no longer sure what would happen if I left, whether my body would survive it, or whether I would become something even worse, alone. Then, one night, I woke to agony. I stumbled to the bathroom, pulled off my shirt, and saw my back split open. The skin had torn along my spine, not from trauma, but from pressure within. Something had pushed out, forcing its way through. I ran to the institute in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat and blood. Louis was waiting for me, as if he had known I would come.
It's time,
he said quietly, and led me into a part of the building I had never seen. Down a hallway, into a sealed room lined with glass tanks, tissue samples, embryonic models, and documents marked by strange codes. I realized in that moment that this wasn't a clinic, it was a lab. I turned to leave, panic rising, but he was already behind me with a syringe. I felt the needle sink into my neck, and moments later my limbs gave out. He secured me to the chair, whispering that it was just to prevent convulsions. Then he told me the truth.
You were part of something greater, a vision for the future of our species, an experimental bloodline created through selective sperm enhancement to forge the next stage of human evolution. You were never meant to survive. Your embryo was marked for disposal, but a clerical slip placed it into the hands of an infertile couple, and they raised you, never knowing what you truly were.
I stared at him, frozen, each word cutting deeper than the last.
I knew the moment I saw your data. That's why I stepped in. I was guiding you toward what you were always meant to become. Without my intervention, your body would have collapsed under the weight of its own potential. But now you're becoming something extraordinary, and for that, you owe me everything.
Then the transformation began. My muscles clenched, spasmed, and tore themselves apart, only to rebuild in strange, knotted shapes. Bones cracked and twisted, reshaping themselves without mercy. My spine broke through my skin, forming a jagged ridge that curved like armor. My screams blurred with the sound of my body unraveling. And then, from just beneath my collarbone, something began to rise. It wasn't just bone, it was flesh. A second face, half-formed, emerging from within me. Mouth clenched, teeth grinding, jaw twitching. It had no eyes, but it moved, alive and aware. Louis stumbled back.
No, this isn't the final design. This wasn't what I planned.
But I no longer heard him. Something inside me had broken loose, not just in body, but in mind. The pain, the betrayal, the realization that I had never truly been human, all flooded through me, drowning whatever pieces of reason remained. I moved before I even knew I had. My body, mutated, monstrous, lunged toward him. I saw the terror in his eyes just before I reached him, but by then, it no longer mattered. He created me. Now he would pay for what I had become. As for me, the ordinary life I had once known had been completely destroyed. I no longer knew what I had become. And if there were such a thing as another life after this, I wondered whether we ever got to choose the reason we were born.
The thick, glossy black hair that once was my pride and joy. But things have changed. My hair started falling out, slowly at first, then in clumps. Brushing my hair became a terrifying nightmare. Strands kept falling to the floor, as if someone were cutting my hair that I didn't know. The patches of baldness grew larger and more noticeable. They made me feel insecure and isolated from everyone. Nick is an amazing guy, but I no longer felt worthy of standing beside him. My thinning hair and uneven bald spots made me look like an ugly monster, no matter how hard I tried to hide it. I knew Nick had seen the mess I'd become. One evening, after working late, I didn't go straight home. Instead, I wandered aimlessly through the dimly lit streets, lost in my thoughts. Suddenly, I found myself stopping in front of a wig shop. The place looked shabby. Through the grimy glass window, I caught a glimpse of myself smiling. My eyes locked onto it, a wig, but not just any wig. This was the thickest, most luxurious hairpiece I had ever seen. My heart raced with excitement. Yes, this was exactly what I needed. I had to buy this wig. Now look who's the one with this thick, gorgeous hair. It's me. Overwhelmed with joy, I called Nick.
You sound happy? What's going on?
I want to show you my new hair. Now I felt completely confident. I took the comb and ran it through my thick black hair. Oh, it felt amazing. But then, a sharp, itching pain suddenly interrupted my joy. The itch grew unbearable and I couldn't stop scratching. Tiny white flakes fell onto my hands. Why was there so much dandruff? And why did it seem like the flakes were moving? I shuddered and a sharp headache hit me again. I wondered, maybe it's all the long hours at work that caused this? I grabbed a bottle of painkillers. I gulped them down in a hurry. I told myself I had to endure, at least until the anniversary date with Nick. I couldn't let anything ruin this. That day, I decided to prepare a romantic dinner at home to surprise Nick. The doorbell rang. Nick stepped in. He handed me a bouquet of deep red roses. I forced a smile, trying to appear cheerful despite the worsening pain. Suddenly, Nick glanced around, his face hesitant.
Do you smell something weird, Ellen? It's kind of rotten.
I took Nick's hand and smiled brightly. I don't smell anything. Come on, let's have dinner. During the meal, Nick seemed uncomfortable. Then he took a small box from his pocket and opened it, revealing an exquisite ruby necklace.
Let me put it on for you.
His fingers gently brushed through my hair as he fastened the clasp, and for a moment, I felt the warmth of his affection. But then, a horrifying scream tore through the air. I turned to Nick, and then I saw his hand. Maggots. They were biting his hand, slimy and terrifying to the point that I couldn't breathe.
What is this?
Nick screamed, his face pale and twisted in horror. Nick looked at me as if I was some kind of monster.
So that's where the stench was coming from. It's you, Ellen.
Without another word, he bolted for the door, not even bothering to look back. At that moment, I realized something terrifying. The pain and the strange itching weren't caused by work stress. I clutched my head, the agony feeling like it was tearing my flesh apart. I desperately tried to pull clumps of hair from my scalp. The sticky substance clinging to my hands made me sick to my stomach. My heart ached. I couldn't believe my eyes. Maggots! They were crawling, wriggling beneath the thick layer of hair, clinging tightly to my scalp. I couldn't control myself anymore. I vomited, the disgust spreading through my entire body. I collapsed onto the floor. The pain was so intense it felt like my scalp was being torn apart. In the dim darkness, all I could hear was my own ragged breathing. My body felt weak and my vision blurred. I wanted to run outside to find Nick, but I couldn't. I felt myself slowly losing consciousness. Suddenly, I heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Nick! He had returned with a group of people. In my dazed state, all I could hear was one sentence from them.
We need to get her to the hospital immediately.
Everything was a blur. I saw the doctor holding my medical report. I heard the news on TV.
A girl has been hospitalized due to a wig made from the hair of a deceased person. The wig is believed to contain harmful parasites, causing severe health issues.
Back then, I worked as the overnight security monitor at a Walmart supercenter, one of those massive stores open 24/7 with high ceilings and those long, humming fluorescent lights that never let you feel fully awake. My shift was 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. 5 nights a week, I sat in a small office watching 6 old monitors show the same grey aisles from slightly different angles. After a few weeks, I knew the system better than anyone. Which cameras had a 4-second delay? Which ones occasionally froze when the store's AC kicked in? Where the blind spots were? How to scrub the logs so no one would notice? So, I stole things. Not big things, just small stuff. Gum, headphones, disposable razors, stuff people barely notice. I'd grab it during a round, delete the footage from the right angle, and log the timestamp as a signal drop. It was easy, almost boring. Then, there was the night I took a pair of AirPods from a returns shelf in the back storeroom. Just 25 minutes of footage wiped. No one else was in the aisle. I was careful. The next morning, Jessica didn't show up for work. Jessica worked the late shift sometimes, stocking shelves or organizing the clearance section. She was quiet, early 20s, kept to herself, pale skin, big, tired eyes. The kind of person everyone forgets is there until she's not. I didn't think much of her absence at first. People ghost Walmart jobs all the time. But then night 2 passed. Then a third. Her name started coming up in murmurs, mostly from employees, not management. I heard things like, "She was acting weird lately," and "She probably just left." Nobody seemed worried. Until my supervisor knocked on the security office door 3 days later.
Hey Marcus, can you pull footage from the back storeroom around 3:15 a.m. on Tuesday?
My stomach dropped. That was the exact time I deleted footage to cover the AirPods. I played dumb, saying the system was glitchy. Must have been a signal loss, I told him. He bought it, walked away. But something gnawed at me. What if she'd gone in right after me? What if I deleted the only evidence of what happened to her? I couldn't sleep that day. The next night, I stayed late after my shift. I ran file recovery tools, poked into the archives, tried to see if there was any trace left of that footage. And that's when I saw it. A file I didn't recognize. Named Recovered Clip 0315 Jess. I don't know how it got there. I didn't create it. I opened it. The clip was 42 seconds long. It showed Jessica standing alone in the storeroom. Her hands were trembling. She kept glancing behind her. Then she looked directly into the camera. Straight at me, it felt like. Her mouth moved. I couldn't hear her, but she was mouthing something. Then a figure stepped into the frame behind her. Tall, hoodie pulled tight, face in shadow, holding something metal. Jessica turned, flinched. The video glitched, stuttered, froze. Then static. When I tried to replay it, The file was gone. The whole folder was gone. The next few nights, things got worse. Other logs started disappearing. Not ones I touched. Ones I knew for a fact I hadn't touched. Footage from registers, hallways, aisles, anything from that night. All of it. Gone. Some of the cameras were still live, but every attempt to replay past footage came back empty or corrupted. One night, I saw something else. I was watching the live feed from outside the storeroom when I noticed a figure standing motionless near the stock shelves. Hoodie. Still. Almost like it was waiting. But when I switched to a different camera and back, it was gone. And then the emails started. No sender. No subject. Just a message in the body. Stop trying to restore her. The second one came with an image attachment. It was a screenshot of me, sitting in the security office. From a camera angle I didn't recognize. Someone had access to more than just the feeds. They were watching me. I kept digging. One recovered folder contained corrupted still frames. Frame by frame, it showed Jessica entering the storeroom, then being pushed. Then the image blurred, warped like melted film. Every attempt to extract the full video failed. The system returned a message I'd never seen before. Access denied. Record has been archived permanently. I checked the admin logs. Someone with higher clearance than I had manually flagged every camera angle involving Jessica for auto-deletion. Every file, every login, scrubbed. I wasn't the one who erased her. I had only deleted one clip, but someone else. They erased everything, and they made sure no one remembered. The worst part? People started forgetting her. One of the cashiers, when I asked, blinked and said,
Jessica who?
Oh, are you talking about the girl who quit a while ago?
Jessica had only been gone 5 days. I checked the employee schedule system. Her name? Gone. Her profile photo replaced with a default icon. Her locker in the break room was empty, clean, like no one ever used it. But I remembered. I still remembered. I wish I didn't. Then came the final message. It appeared on every monitor in the security room at once. White text, black screen. You deleted her, now stop looking. I stood up from my chair and the monitors flickered again. Jessica's face appeared, pale, blood on her forehead, eyes wide. No sound, just her lips moving. Over and over she mouthed the same sentence.
Don't let them erase me again.
I don't work at Walmart anymore. I left that job, burned the uniform, swore I'd forget. But I kept one thing, a USB drive. It contains the only surviving clip. A few seconds of Jessica looking into the camera, pleading, mouthing those words. Sometimes I plug it in, watch it in the dark, wonder who else remembers her. The video glitches worse every time, like it's fading. Soon, maybe it'll be gone too. And when it is, I wonder if I'll forget her like the others, or if I'll be next. I lit a match to feel a little warmth in the freezing night. Through the flickering flame, I wished for a full meal and a peaceful sleep. Tonight, I was sleeping on the streets again. I'm Josh. I've been homeless for 3 months now. My hands were so cold that they've gone completely numb. I lit another match to feel a bit of warmth. Suddenly, a gentle voice spoke up.
Do you need help?
I looked up and saw a woman in her 40s. Her eyes were warm as she smiled at me.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a TikToker who helps the homeless. I'd like to help someone like you.
Chloe showed me her TikTok account, which had thousands of followers. Her live streams received a lot of donations.
Come with me. I'll help you find a job and get a better life, just like the others I've helped.
A spark of hope flickered in my chest. I agreed to follow her home, convinced this would be the turning point in my life. When I stepped into Chloe's house, something felt off. There was a strong scent of bleach in the air. I covered my nose and glanced around.
Don't worry, I just cleaned the house. Make yourself at home, but remember, you must never go to the end of the hallway.
I smiled and nodded, but the smell of bleach made me uneasy. Over the next few days, I joined Chloe's live streams and shared my story. Every time we went live, the donations kept pouring in. I could eat well and sleep soundly in a warm bed. My world seemed brighter, but a lingering unease gnawed at me. Every time I looked into Chloe's eyes, I sensed something was wrong, though I couldn't pinpoint what. One afternoon, while Chloe was out, I decided to watch TV to pass the time. A breaking news report shocked me. It was about the mysterious disappearances of several homeless people. My heart sank. One of them was Sam, someone I knew. I remembered seeing him with Chloe a few days ago, but there had been no live stream featuring him. What was going on? I took a deep breath to calm myself. I had been with Chloe for days now, and she had treated me well. My unease grew. Could Sam's disappearance be connected to Chloe? The overwhelming smell of bleach was suspicious. I decided to go to the end of the hallway. There, I found an old door. My heart raced as I opened it and stepped inside. The stench of bleach hit me again, sending chills down my spine. On a shelf, I saw dozens of blood-filled vials, all neatly sealed and organized. Then I saw the board, covered with photos of missing homeless people, just like in the news. I spotted Sam's picture. Only one thought raced through my mind. What has Chloe done to these people? My legs felt frozen. I saw my own photo on the board. Was I next? I had to escape immediately. When I opened my eyes, Chloe was staring at me with a cold gaze, nothing like the kindness she had shown before. I was stunned when I realized I had been tied on an operating table surrounded by medical tools and empty blood vials.
Didn't I tell you not to go to the end of the hallway?
What happened to Sam?
Sam? His blood will soon be sold on the black market. I'm going to be rich.
Her words hit me like a slap. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're a criminal, Chloe. She stepped closer and put on gloves.
You'll soon join your friend, Josh.
She injected something into my arm. My body grew heavy, and I could feel all my strength draining away. Chloe happily arranged the blood vials on a shelf.
A perfect plan,
she said with a grin. In that cold, sterile room, I realized I had fallen into a trap Chloe had set long ago. Sharp pains shot through me as my blood was drawn. I felt myself growing colder.
I've always loved thrill rides. The rush of adrenaline, the way my stomach flips on roller coasters. It's exhilarating. My boyfriend Liam shares the same passion, which is one of the reasons we work so well together. For our second anniversary, he planned something special. He led me through the amusement park, his hands over my eyes.
No peeking,
he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. I giggled, feeling the electric excitement of the moment. Come on, at least give me a hint.
Patience,
he teased.
It'll be worth it.
After a few minutes, he stopped.
All right,
He said.
wait here. I just need to set something up.
I laughed. Fine, but don't leave me waiting too long. Then, silence. The sounds of the amusement park buzzed around me. Distant laughter, the clanking of machinery, the occasional whoosh of a roller coaster. But as minutes passed, my excitement began to wane. He was taking too long. I shifted on my feet. Liam? Nothing. A strange silence crept in, swallowing the noise of the park. Then, a soft dragging sound, like something limping toward me. I smiled uneasily. Liam, quit messing around. The sound grew closer, slow, uneven. Then it stopped. A cold, suffocating stillness settled over me. The fine hairs on my arms rose. I wasn't alone. I hesitated before opening my eyes, expecting to see the bright lights of the amusement park. But everything was dark. The once vibrant park was now eerily abandoned. The carousel stood lifeless, its horses frozen mid-gallop. Rides that should have been full of screams and laughter were motionless. And in front of me stood a man. No, something that used to be a man. His body was thin and twisted, one leg dragging behind him as if it were broken. His head tilted at an unnatural angle, face stretched into a distorted grin. His eyes, sunken and empty, locked onto mine. My breath caught. I took a step back. He took one forward. A sickening squelch accompanied his movement, as if his bones weren't connected properly. Then he lunged. I turned and ran. The air felt thick, suffocating. My feet pounded against the pavement as I darted past the abandoned booths and empty rides. I didn't dare look back. Then, blackness. A hand covered my eyes, yanking me to a halt. I screamed, struggling, but then...
Shh! Hey! It's okay! It's just me!
Liam, I gasped as the blindfold was gently removed. The lights of the amusement park burst into view, dazzling and vibrant. Music played, people laughed, and the air smelled of popcorn and cotton candy. I turned, seeing Liam's familiar warm smile.
You okay? I think you got a little overwhelmed. But don't worry, I have the perfect way to make it up to you.
I forced a weak laugh. Maybe I had imagined everything. Maybe it was part of some haunted attraction, and my mind had tricked me. Liam pointed at the roller coaster, our favorite ride.
Come on, just one ride.
Despite my lingering unease, I nodded. The roller coaster car locked us in. As it ascended, I started to relax. Liam squeezed my hand, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. Then, as we plunged into the first drop, I saw it. Among the trees lining the tracks, a head, human, severed, was nailed to a trunk. Its eyes were wide open, staring right at me. Its mouth hung slack, lips twisted in a silent scream. My stomach turned to ice. Liam! Did you see that? The head!
What head?
He frowned, laughing.
You're seeing things again?
The ride sped up, the wind howling around us. But when we should have returned to the station, the coaster didn't slow down. It kept going, loop after loop, turn after turn. My body pressed into the seat, my skin stretching back unnaturally from the force. The wind felt sharper, harsher. Then I felt something shift. My cheek started to pull away from my skull. The wind wasn't just strong, it was peeling me apart. Liam sat beside me, completely unchanged, smiling. I tried to reach for him, to make him stop the ride, but my arms had elongated into ribbons of flesh, stretching further with every loop. The ride never stopped. I turned to Liam, eyes wide with terror. Liam, please, make it stop! He tilted his head slightly as if confused. Then finally he spoke.
I thought you loved thrill rides. It will stop.
The ride surged forward once more, and as the wind ripped away the last remnants of my human form, I realized I was never getting off. And my boyfriend, was he truly oblivious? Or had he planned this all along?
People come to tattoo artists looking for symbols of love, loss, rebellion. They come for permanence, for control. But me, I inked my own destruction. It started after the accident. They said I was unconscious for 3 days. Motorbike wreck. I don't remember much, just blackness like being sunk under miles of ocean. When I woke up, everything felt sharper. The world hummed with an unnatural stillness, like something was waiting. The first time it happened, I thought it was a coincidence. I doodled a shattered clock on my left wrist. Nothing serious, just a loose sketch with my machine while killing time in the studio. That night, the wall clock in my kitchen fell off its hook and smashed. I laughed it off. Then I tattooed a little envelope on my forearm. The next morning, I received a job offer I'd completely forgotten I'd applied for. A coin. I found $50 on the street. A rose. A girl named Lana walked into my life that week, smelling of gardenias and sin. It wasn't coincidence. It was prophecy. I began using my body as a spellbook. Every design was a wish made flesh. More clients came, drawn to my reputation. I raised my rates. Lana moved in. My bank account swelled, my name circled on influencer lists. I was crafting a life with ink, until I made the mistake. It happened after a fight. Lana had this habit, checking my sketches when I wasn't around. She saw something she wasn't supposed to, something I was experimenting with. We fought. I screamed. She screamed back. I needed an outlet, something to bleed the rage into. So I took a pen and drew a tattoo on my thigh. A woman tumbling downstairs, her head split on marble. Her silhouette looked vaguely like Lana. It wasn't a plan, just a moment of spite. Rage made art. I never inked it. It was just a drawing. But the next morning, I got the call. Lana was dead. Slipped. Cracked her skull at the bottom of the staircase in her apartment block. The cops said it was an accident. Neighbors heard no screams, no struggle. But I knew. I checked my thigh. The ink was gone, but beneath the skin, faint shadows remained, like the design had sunk deeper. I tried everything, scrubbing, peeling, even burning, but the shape refused to leave. And then came the dreams. At first it was Lana, twisted, broken, her neck at a wrong angle, her mouth trying to form words through shattered teeth. Then the visions got worse. People I'd never seen before, places that didn't exist, symbols I never tattooed. But when I woke up, those images were on my skin. A dark figure crouched on my chest, a blood-stained ring encircling my ankle. Eyes, so many eyes, watching, blinking, always open. Every time I fell asleep, I'd wake up with something new etched onto my body, new horrors, new omens. I even tried tattooing over them, trying to regain control. My machine buzzed, the ink flowed, but the marks bled through. Black ink turned crimson, then oil slick green. The machine jammed. The power surged. I swear, my skin hissed when the needle touched it. And then the moving started. Yes, moving. I caught my reflection one night in the bathroom mirror. My shirt was off. The black silhouette on my chest, the one shaped like a man, was breathing. Its shoulders rose. Its head turned just slightly toward my face. I screamed and backed away. The thing didn't vanish. It pressed closer to the surface. I stopped going outside. I stopped sleeping. The marks on my body had become a living record of my sins, dreams, and fears. My skin wasn't mine anymore. It was a canvas for something else, something older, hungry. I tried laser removal next, a back alley clinic with no questions asked. The technician zapped the first mark, an eye on my neck, and immediately started convulsing. His eyes rolled back. Blood streamed from his ears. He dropped dead mid-treatment. I didn't go to the hospital. Who would believe me? Now, every night, more appear. Things I didn't draw. Things I didn't even think. Once I saw my childhood home on my ribs, burning. I called my mother in a panic. She didn't answer. 2 days later, I got the news. Electrical fire. She didn't make it. It hit me then. The tattoos weren't just prophecy anymore. They were creation, not only predicting but enforcing, turning my subconscious into a curse. I started to wonder, if the ink creates reality, could it also end it? So I tattooed a gravestone on my chest, carved with my name. Underneath it, "Here lies the last prophet." I thought it would kill me, release me. Instead, it made things worse. That night, I dreamed of a grave, but I wasn't in it. Something else was. Something that opened its eyes in the dark and crawled out. The next morning, my nightmare blinked before I did. My tattoos twisted and smiled. And then I heard the voice, rasping, low, like a whisper between bones. "You thought you were the artist. You were just the skin. Now I barely sleep. I shave my head, trying to catch new marks early. They still come, faster, more violent. Symbols of death, rot, rituals I've never seen. I think something else is writing through me now, taking what's left of my mind and mapping it onto flesh. I'm no longer the only one marked. My clients from the early days, those who got lucky tattoos, they're dying. Their skin rejects the ink. It peels, screams. One woman tried to scrape hers off with a cheese grater. Another drowned herself in black ink. It's spreading. I wanted control, wanted meaning. Now I'm covered in it. Truths I was never meant to see, never meant to speak. If you're reading this, if someone ever offers you a tattoo of fate, don't take it. Don't even think about it. Because thoughts become lines, lines become ink, and ink never forgets.
I am not rich, never have been, and probably never will be, but I know how to survive. That night, I went to the birthday party of some university rich kid whose name I can't even remember, wearing borrowed and patched up clothes, and cheap things don't last long. My shoe heel broke. I fell to the floor amidst the mocking laughter of the jerks around me. Some girl pointed at me and shrieked, as if I were the cheapest joke of the day. I stood up abruptly, threw away the broken shoe, and ran out of the party, barefoot, feeling humiliated and angry. The streets were cold and dirty, the sharp stones cutting into my bare feet, making them bleed. I ran with my head down, tears in my eyes, and bumped into a strange man. "Hey, are you blind?" I cursed at him without holding back, but he just glanced at me, his eyes so cold and sharp that I instinctively shut my mouth. The strange man walked away, unaware that the red shoe in his plastic bag had fallen out. I looked at the shoe as if I had seen my good fortune. My heart was pounding. I didn't care how he got it. All I knew was, I wanted that shoe. I picked it up, put it on. It fit perfectly. It felt like I became a different person. I simply thought it was a good item and took it home. I had a peaceful night, sleeping in my bed like a fancy lady with red shoes on, until the ringtone ruined my sweet dream. "Hello, this is Karen." What? Isabel was murdered. Isabel was a rich girl from my university class. She was supposed to come to the party last night, but she was kidnapped and cut into pieces. Her body was found chopped up by the side of the road. I had to attend her funeral. Well, it was also a good chance to get close to the upper class, right? The funeral was crowded, heavy with sadness. I stood quietly next to Isabel's parents, pretending to be a sweet friend who was heartbroken over her death. Suddenly, my feet started to feel hot, like some invisible force was pulling me forward. In the blink of an eye, I stumbled toward a man in the weirdest way. My dress flew up, showing off the bright red shoes. I could hear people whispering about my shoes, saying I was disrespectful. Embarrassed, I tried to stop my legs and stand straight. I pulled my dress down to cover the shoes, but they kept glowing red, still trying to move my feet. Was there really something wrong with them? After the funeral, I walked home alone. The shoes were quiet again, just like normal shoes. Then suddenly, the heat came back. The shoes woke up again. It felt like the shoes were getting stronger. They spun me around so hard I had to grab a street sign just to stay upright. I stomped my feet down as hard as I could, trying to stop them. I didn't care what they were. Whatever it was, they really pissed me off. I got home safely and entered the passcode to open the door. But those cursed shoes tried to control me again. I held onto the doorknob to keep my balance, trying to stay calm. But then I saw the reflection in the glass and realized the shoes were doing this for a reason. That strange man I bumped into last night. He was watching me. Now I could clearly see his face. It was Joe, the same guy I just saw at the funeral. A wave of fear rushed through me. I rushed inside and slammed the door shut. I dropped onto the chair and lifted my leg to take off the shoes, but they wouldn't come off. The harder I pulled, the tighter they got. Blood started leaking from my ankles. I screamed and grabbed my phone, trying to search for a way to remove the shoes. But just as I opened Google, the first news headline made my heart stop. That outfit, the man I saw last night and the one following me, it's him. My whole body went cold. Then, I heard the sound of someone entering the door code. The red shoes started dragging me toward the killer again. I had completely lost control of my legs. With all the hatred and determination I felt from the shoes, there was only one explanation. These shoes belonged to Isabel. And somehow, her soul had entered them, and she was trying to get revenge.
Karen, I know you're in there. Open the door.
No, please, don't hurt me. I don't know anything. If Isabel wants revenge, what does that have to do with me? I don't want to be silenced by that killer. I want to live. I completely gave up on using my legs. I dragged myself across the floor with my hands, fighting against the pull of the shoes. My hands hurt so much they went numb, but I couldn't stop. The killer was getting closer. I crawled to the mirror, pulled it down, and smashed it. I grabbed a shard of glass still stuck to a piece of wood. The shoes were still squeezing my feet, like they were trying to eat me alive. I had no choice. I had to tear these shoes off my body no matter what. The door burst open, and the red shoes, with my feet still inside, flew straight at the killer like a bullet. But Joe walked into the room without flinching. I saw him raise the axe, and the shoes, along with my bloody feet, were chopped into 4 pieces. I heard Isabel's voice. Screaming in rage, I crawled backward, reaching out in despair. But Joe just walked toward me, dragging the axe across the floor. Screech! 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 I cried. I begged. I screamed for someone to save me. But no one came.
I married him quickly. We met exactly 100 days ago. A whirlwind romance, passionate and intoxicating. Gabe swept me off my feet with candlelit dinners, spontaneous weekend getaways, and whispered promises under the moonlight. Then, one evening, he got down on one knee. I should have been hesitant. We barely knew each other. But when he slipped the ring onto my finger, I said yes without a second thought. Now, here we were, floating in the middle of the ocean on a luxurious private yacht, basking in the glow of our honeymoon. Just the two of us. Gabe poured another glass of wine, his fingers grazing mine as he handed it over.
To us.
I smiled and clinked my glass against his. We talked for hours, about dreams, childhood memories, random stories about life. His laughter was warm, his gaze full of love. Then, as the conversation lulled, he leaned in.
You know, we should talk about finances.
He said casually. I tilted my head. Why?
Well, we're married now. We should be open about everything, right?
That made sense. Couples should share everything. Bank accounts, properties, even insurance policies. Still, something about the way he asked made my stomach twist. He reached for my hand.
Do you have life insurance?
I hesitated, just for a second. Then, I answered. Of course I did. I had a sizable policy from my job. A good one. Gabe pulled out his phone and looked up insurance details. His thumb traced slow, deliberate circles on my wrist.
That's a wise choice. I'd hate for anything to happen to you.
I laughed nervously, brushing it off. Love is trust, right? That night, I expected our first night together as husband and wife to be passionate. But after dinner, after another glass of wine, my eyelids grew unbearably heavy. I barely remembered climbing into bed. The gentle rocking of the yacht should have lulled me into a peaceful sleep. But instead, I felt like I was sinking. I could hear Gabe's voice in my ear.
Sleep tight, my love.
Then, nothing. I woke up groggy. My limbs were heavy, my head foggy, as if I had run a marathon in my sleep. Gabe was already up, preparing the diving gear.
Good morning, sleepyhead. Are you ready for our first dive together?
I hesitated. I had never gone diving before. The thought of being deep underwater, where the surface was just a distant shimmer, made me uneasy. But Gabe was so excited, and I wanted to be the wife he deserved. I guess, I said, forcing a smile. He beamed.
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you.
There was no diving instructor. No one else on board. Just us. Don't we have a diving instructor?
I wanted this moment to be just ours.
That should have made me feel special. Instead, I felt a strange, creeping sense of unease. But love is trust, right? As I turned away to change into my wetsuit, I caught a glimpse of Gabe out of the corner of my eye. He was messing with the oxygen tank. I froze. What are you doing? He glanced up, his expression smooth, calm.
Your tank had a leak. I'm switching it out for another one.
I nodded slowly. It made sense, didn't it? Maybe I was just overthinking things. The moment we plunged into the water, all my fears melted away. The world below was breathtaking. Schools of fish swirled around us in shimmering clouds. Coral reefs stretched endlessly, swaying gently with the current. It was like an alien world, untouched, silent, beautiful. Gabe swam beside me, watching me with a smile behind his mask. For the first time since waking up, I felt safe. Then, without warning, he reached behind me and unfastened my oxygen tank. It took me a second to realize what had happened. One moment, I was breathing. The next, nothing. Panic surged through me. I clawed at my regulator, desperate to shove it back into my mouth. But my fingers fumbled. My lungs screamed for air. Gabe just hovered there, watching me. Waiting. He wasn't going to save me. He had been planning this. I lunged at him, grabbing his wetsuit, my nails digging into his arms, but he twisted away faster than me, stronger. I kicked, trying to chase him, but my body was slowing down. Oxygen deprivation. Black spots bloomed in my vision. My arms felt like lead. Gabe was swimming backward, watching me struggle. His eyes held no love, no regret, just cold detachment. Then he turned and swam away, fading light. I reached out for him, my fingers grazing the water where he had been. I kicked, I thrashed, I tried to move toward the surface, but I was sinking. I should have waited longer. I should have taken my time, should have questioned the man who loved me too fast, too intensely. But love makes us blind. The sunlight above me grew fainter, more distant. Gabe was gone, and I was alone.
I had always been plain, forgettable, a shadow in the crowd. At 30, life had settled into a predictable routine. Wake up, work, go home, scroll mindlessly through my phone until I passed out. Somewhere along the way, I had faded into the background, lost in the monotony of my own existence. I needed change. I needed to stand out. That's when I found the ad. New age, new me, vibrant colors, salon-quality results. Right at home, easy to use, long-lasting, and ridiculously affordable. The images were captivating. People with electric blue, neon green, and fiery orange hair, looking confident and alive. Orange. That was it. That was what I needed. Bright, daring, impossible to ignore. The price was absurdly cheap, but the reviews were glowing. Besides, how hard could it be? I placed the order. The package arrived in 2 days, wrapped in flimsy plastic with a label that looked off. The font was slightly blurred, and the instructions were printed in awkward English. But I shrugged it off. The pictures looked professional. The reviews said it worked. That's all that mattered. I laid out the contents: bleach powder, developer, and the neon orange dye. I mixed the bleach and applied it carefully, just like the instructions said. At first, it wasn't bad. There was a strong chemical smell, but it was oddly pleasant, sweet, almost floral. I chuckled to myself. People always complain about how painful bleaching is. Maybe I have a high pain tolerance. Then, at the 20-minute mark, the tingling started. At 25 minutes, the tingling turned into a burn. By 30 minutes, my scalp felt like it was being stabbed by 1,000 tiny needles. I gritted my teeth, forcing myself to endure. Beauty is pain, right? When I finally rinsed it out, the water ran pale yellow. My hair, if you could still call it that, was now a ghostly, washed-out blonde. My scalp throbbed, my skin felt raw. But I convinced myself this was normal. People do this all the time. Ignoring the lingering sting, I tore open the tube of dye and carefully massaged the thick, orange paste into my hair. The burning sensation from the bleach hadn't fully faded, but I pushed through. The instructions said to leave it on for 30 minutes. I sat back against the bathroom wall, feeling the warmth of the dye on my scalp, my eyelids growing heavy. Just a few minutes. Just to rest. I don't remember falling asleep. A sharp, tearing pain jolted me awake. I gasped, my scalp feeling wrong, tight, heavy, like something was pulling at my head. I reached up, fingers trembling. My hair was hard, not just stiff, not just dry, solid, like stone. Panic surged through me. I scrambled to the sink, twisting the faucet handle, shoving my head under the icy stream of water. Nothing. The dye wouldn't rinse out. My hair remained stiff, frozen in place like a helmet of dried glue. I grabbed a comb and forced it through my strands. A sharp, Blinding pain exploded in my skull. Something tore. I looked down. Not just hair. A piece of my scalp. A pinkish red chunk of flesh, still tangled with bright orange strands, clung to the teeth of the comb. I stared. My breath came in short, ragged gasps. I lifted my trembling hand to my head, feeling gaps, raw, wet, exposed patches of skin where hair should be. I screamed. Desperate, I clawed at my hair, trying to shake it loose. The pain was unbearable, but I couldn't stop. A sickening, wet rip. More flesh peeled away. The sink filled with pieces of me. Water swirled red and orange, clogging the drain. I stumbled back, panting, my vision swimming with dark spots. Then I saw myself in the mirror. My scalp was a patchwork of open wounds, raw and oozing. Blood dripped down my temples, pooling at my collar. The dye had seeped into my torn flesh, staining my exposed skin bright orange. I wasn't a man anymore. I was a thing, a grotesque, skinless thing with a melted, blood-drenched skull. I opened my mouth to scream again, but no sound came out. My body gave out. The world spun. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and regret. The doctor examined my head, his face carefully neutral. He had seen worse. That scared me more than anything.
The chemicals have caused severe chemical burns. The tissue is necrotic,
he said, his voice low.
There's nothing we can do to save it.
I barely felt the razor as they shaved away the last remnants of my hair. My new face stared back at me from the hospital mirror. Bald, scarred, unrecognizable. I had changed, but not in the way I wanted. Back home, I sat in front of my laptop, staring at the ad that had started it all. New age, new me. My own reflection haunted the dark screen, my scalp a battlefield of pink scars. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. Click, report address. Click, block user. Because now I knew the truth. Some transformations aren't worth the price.